Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Side Quest Source, where Max and Stephen will take on the role of the Backer Street Irregulars, aiding I, Sherlock Holmes, in a game of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. We are at 221B Baker Street, quietly celebrating the conclusion of the munition magnate case when we hear a clamour in the street below, followed by the ringing of the front doorbell, and then the sounds of heavy footfalls on the stairs. It seems as if our moment of triumph is to be but short-lived. Come in, Lestrade. Lestrade timidly peeks in, his face betraying surprise at being recognised before he is seen.
Really, Holmes, explains Watson. I suppose you will tell us that Lestrade rings doorbells in a most distinctive way, and that you would recognise his footsteps anywhere.
No, my dear Watson, not at all, I chuckle. But since the trip from the front doorbell to ours was made in seconds, and was unaccompanied by a warning screech from Mrs. Hudson, it must be presumed that she knew the caller. Who else would it be in such a hurry, and gain immediate entry but Inspector Lestrade, with some pressing and professional matter? Besides, whilst at the window a few moments ago, I glimpsed the inspector's carriage turning onto Baker Street. Inspector, now that you have regained your breath, how can we be of service to you? Lestrade pops down in a chair and gasps out.
General Farnsworth Armstead, one of the 6 surviving Waterloo Torrentino ticket holders, has been murdered.
Waterloo Torrentino? Asks Watson.
A lottery of sorts. In 1815, the Torrentine was set up to aid the veterans of the Battle of Waterloo, Wellington's victory over Napoleon. For £1, one bought a ticket in the name of some young relative. Longevity is paramount to winning. The ticket proceeds amount to over £1 million, half of which went immediately to veterans and their families for medical and hardship expenses. The remainder went into account at the Bank of England, where it has been collecting interest all these years. The sole surviving ticket holder will claim that prize.
A king's ransom, certainly, explains Watson. Who are the surviving ticket holders?
The oldest is Captain Robert Jurgens, 82. Then Anita and Claire Thomas, twins, 80 years old. William Rowland, aged 79. Peter Dudley, 77. General Armstead was the youngest at 74.
The Times is sponsoring some big to-do involving the Torrentine survivors on the 18th, I say.
Oh, that's right, a Waterloo anniversary banquet at the Langham Hotel. Why is the name Armstead familiar?
Perhaps, Watson, you are thinking of the General's book, Treasure of the Conquerors, I say. He was a noted art collector, I believe.
Indeed he was, Mr. Holmes, said Lestrade. He was interested in valuables which at one time belonged to famous military men. The book traced the history of various objects and how they passed from collector to collector. Quite a sensation it was, if you know what I mean. At the time of his death, he was working on a revised edition for his publisher, Norgate and Company. It was to contain an entirely new chapter on a fabulous diamond called the Polar Star, which at one point belonged to Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother. The General had new information which had traced the gem to its present owner. What do you think, Holmes?
I think, Inspector, that you should tell us the circumstances of the General's death, I say.
At 10 o'clock this morning, the General's valet and former Batman, David Sennett, attended a caller at the General's study. The caller was an elderly gentleman with a French accent, unknown to Sennett. It was all very unusual, in that the General never sees anyone in the morning while he is at work, but the gentleman insisted that if the General would read a letter, he would be the exception to the proven rule. And so it was. Sennett took the letter to the General, who went very pale when he read it. He told Sennett to let the man in. Sensing something amiss, Sennett dawdled in the area of the study for the next 15 minutes or so. Suddenly, he heard the distant sound of swordplay. He then tried to enter the study, but found the door securely locked. As he attempted to force it, he heard the crash of breaking glass. He gave it up and raced to the kitchen and out of the back door to enter the study from the garden. The caller had quite vanished by the time he arrived, and the General was leaning against a display case of military miniatures, the shattered top of which accounted for the broken glass. Before Sennett could assist him, he dropped a rapier from his hand and fell over dead.
I take it, asked Holmes, that the letter that had so upset the General was nowhere to be found.
Correct, Mr. Holmes.
Well, Inspector, we shall put our brains and our feet to task.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Okay, Watson, this is how this is going to work. You and I will go and solve the crime. Shouldn't take more than 15 minutes, I think. But I'm going to send my Backer Street Irregulars to see if they can come to the same conclusion. I will hand them a map of London and a directory of likely clues and locations for them to investigate. They can go to as many as they want, within reason. But if they take too long to come to the correct conclusion, I shall think much less of them than I do already. Come on, Watson, the game is afoot. Let's see who the dastardly villain is.
That's it. So, I'm pretty sure Holmes has already solved the case, but within that are all the clues we need in order to follow the leads and solve this case.
All right, so he was murdered by an old man with a French accent.
Yes, at his place.
At his place, and we have an eyewitness.
Yes. So, I would say, as good detectives, we have to go to the scene of the crime.
No.
No,
sure. Yes, let's do that. Let's go to the scene of the crime and see what's left.
I mean, we have all these other people here as well who might be, who are suspects. All these other winners, because I think it was a lottery.
No, the lottery, well, like whoever survives the longest wins the money, which is like the stupidest lottery. It's like I'm old. So it's like yes, either you're an honorable person and you don't cheat and whoever lives the longest gets all the money when he's too old to spend any of it. So I guess it's good for your inheritance.
Yeah.
Or then you're a sneaky bastard and you just murder all your compatriots.
Well, he was the youngest who got killed, so I guess
But see, I'm pretty sure that's a red herring because then they were speaking of he knows the location of this mysterious diamond.
Aha. Yes, exactly.
So the diamond might have something to do with it, and then he was killed, and there was a broken display case with military miniatures, and the name of the case is the Tin Soldier. So that also might be a complicating factor. But the diamond was owned by Napoleon's brother, so maybe the miniature has a clue as to the location of the diamond.
Maybe we can go speak with Batman.
Batman. Well, I mean, he has not only solved the case, he
got the bad guy.
He killed the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Or then he lied about the intruder and he is the murderer.
Okay. David Sennett admitted General's valet informant. Yeah, David Sennett is Batman. What was the guy's name?
General McGonagall.
General
McGonagall. I don't know. What was it?
Armstead. General Armstead.
General Armstead.
Well, he was working on a book about the diamond.
Yes, because he had new information about the location.
Farnsworth Armstead.
27 Northwest.
27.
So we have this map, and we have all these addresses, but do we have like miniatures to move on the map?
No.
Then
but
why?
we can see where it is. I mean, if we have to figure out like people who are moving, if they can.
Right. So he lives at 27 Northwest.
27 Northwest.
Which is there on Brick Street.
And then here's the day's newspaper, which has all the clues we need as well. So it's worth reading.
Oh, yay! Well, everyone will hear the exciting sound of me reading the newspaper. I won't read it to you.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to read this because this is now what happens at 27 Northwest. All right. At the Armstead home, we find that the police have cordoned off... Oh, yeah, this is one of our clues that we've now done.
All right.
At the Armstead home, we find that the police have cordoned off the premises, and it is only after mentioning Inspector Lestrade's name in a loud and indignant tone that we are able to gain admittance. We pass into a large foyer which houses some of the General's art collection, and one pedestal is an alabaster vase. A card state that is one belonging to the Alexander the Great, given to him in a tribute by an Egyptian prince. In a glass enclosed niche in a jade necklace once owned by Augustus Caesar's wife, Livia. In all, there are some 15 objects in the foyer, none of which appear to have been disturbed. At the study door, we are met with by the General's valet and former Batman, David Sennett. It's Batman!
The former Batman.
We judge him to be the General's contemporary, that is, in his 70s, more by his white hair and weathered face than by any deterioration of his physique. Of course, he's in good condition. It's Batman. Mm-hmm. He is, in fact, slim and athletically built. One has no problem imagining that his uniform of 40 years ago still fits him perfectly. Ramrod stiff, only his eyes betray any emotion, and they are quite red as if they were from weeping. He readily agrees to conduct us to the tour of the premises. The study is a very large room devoid of furniture, save of the desk in the opposite end of the room. To our right, between two bookcases, is a glass-enclosed display, the top of which has been shattered. In the glass case is a diorama of 200 military figurines. Hanging in the wall above are flags, sabers, and buzzers, pelisses, and other military equipage. The general called this his Waterloo Wall, explains Sennett. These are mementos of that great battle, and of course, the Toteen ticket. The ticket, a large certificate really, is framed and hanging at about eye level among the other paraphernalia. This is where I found the general, says... No, I should do it in a Batman voice. This is where I found the general... Where is she? Where is she? Too bad there's no Bane. It's like, yeah.
Yes.
No, sorry.
Where is she? Martha!
Martha! My mom is Martha, too.
Let's be friends.
First I was a boy. Now I'm a bat. College humor, Batman, it's great. I suggest everyone watch it. Anyway. Oh, no, I digress. This is where I found the general, says Sennett, leaning over the diorama. He must have smashed the glass with the pommel of his rapier. What does the diorama represent? It is a depiction of the last great British charge which swept the French from the field at Waterloo. The Iron Duke, as the Duke of Wellington, was called in, waving his hat to signal the advance. Here now! Sennett points to the figure representing Wellington, while all the other figurines are advancing towards the viewer. The figure of Wellington is turned around in the opposite direction, that is to say, facing the wall. How strange, says Sennett. He is about to set it right when we caution him that nothing in the room should be touched until the police investigate is complete. One of the tin soldiers was turned around.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't happen to be a switch for a safe.
I don't think we can...
Exactly, so that's... I don't know how to...
How do we do that?
I want to roll. Can I make an dexterity check?
No, this would be an
D&D.
Yeah, this would be an investigation check. Mm-hmm. Roll with advantage. I'm there. On the wall opposite the Waterloo Wall are hung two crossed cavalry pennants. Above them, some 10 feet up the wall, a single rapier, there is a dust pattern on the wall which crosses it, indicating a missing twin. It was the rapier that the general had, explained Sennett. A chair normally placed by the desk for the use of visitors has been moved against the wall under the rapier. Faint footprints soil the fabric of the seat. Several handwritten pages, which represent the revision of the book Treasures of the Conquerors, are strewn in the top of the general's desk. Sennett tells us that the general was working on it while the visitor arrived. These particular pages deal with the history, blah, 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 blah. Next, the manuscript is a letter from Pierre Mateen. It simply states that he is preparing to divulge the name of the present owner of the gem for the agreed-upon fee, and money are to be traded at the Bridge House Hotel at 10 a.m. on the 12th. Okay, so he was going to be meeting someone about the diamond. Yes. Also, interest is a notation on the general's appointment book for the day of the murder, 1 p.m., French Embassy. The general was to meet with an old friend, Jean-Paul Girard, says Sennett. Monsieur Girard was an instructor at the École Militaire when the general was sent to France in 48. Were you with the general in France? Oh, yes. I've been with the general almost 45 years. Finally, there was a small frame photograph of the stern-looking woman. That's the late Mrs. Armstead, says Sennett. We detect a note of hostility in Sennett's tone and inquire about it. Well, sir, you might say that Mr. Armstead and I never quite got on, or Mrs. Armstead. You might say that Mrs. Armstead did not get on with anyone, including the general. Theirs was not a love match. No, sir, Lord Fitch was in danger of having a spinster daughter on his hands in the general. Well, sir, he saw it as a way of social and career advancement. It was an advancement, nothing more. But surely something between them must have developed. Why else would the general keep her picture on his desk? Actually, it was a place there to tweak Mrs. Armstead's brother, the present Lord Fitch. You see, a good deal of Mrs. Armstead's wealth, and so the general's, was in stock in various companies. Her brother also holds stock in those companies. Whether they liked it or not, I believe they did not. Lord Fitch and the general were in business together. Lord Fitch was to see the general this morning, but never arrived. Normally, the picture resides in the lower left-hand drawer. Going back to this morning, would you describe the caller for us? It was a short old man. He wore a black cape and carried a carpet bag. Oh, and he walked with a cane. He didn't give a name? No, he simply asked to see the general and presented a letter for which he... It's terrible because it's also written like in handwriting, in cursive. So it's like...
Definitely sounds annoying to read.
This is really annoying, and there's so much of it. This is like terrible for a first podcast. No one gives a fuck when we do. We don't give a fuck
exactly. Either. It's a challenging game. It's definitely like made for certain tastes.
It is made for certain. This is why it's been in my cupboard for about 10 years.
It sounds like it could be actually a choose your own adventure type. Like this could be fun, a single player game. You just play with yourself. It's just you versus the book.
Yeah,
you're just trying to figure it out. Oh, what happened? But
reading a newspaper.
Yeah. It's hard to do that as a social.
But god damn it, we're gonna do it. We're gonna
try.
We're gonna try.
I'm gonna actually try to like do anything in this game this time.
Yes. Well, listen to my wonderful words I'm speaking.
I am.
Lord Fitch was to see the general this morning, but he never arrived. Normally, oh my. Going back to this morning, would you describe the caller for us? He was a short, old man. He wore a black cape and carried a carpet bag. Oh, and he walked with a cane. He didn't give a name. No, he simply came with a goddamn letter, which he intimidate. No, and presented a letter which he intimated. It's an actual intimated that the general would want to see. You didn't see the content of the letter? No, but the envelope was yellowed with age, and it was addressed in a very graceful hand to Captain Armstead, 12th Hussar and the general's old regiment. When he heard it, he went very pale. Then he subdued the voice. He asked me to admit the gentleman. When you finally get into the room, there's these garden doors. Through these garden doors, the study door was still locked, correct? Yes, that's right. The garden is surrounded by an 8-foot wall, and the only way in and out of the garden is through the house, correct? Yes. Either through the kitchen door or through the doors. Yes, we thank him and leave. So, the brother is in cahoots with the guy who died because the brother's sister, well, the brother's, he married into the brother's family, right?
Yeah, but there's obviously now a link to his old events in Waterloo.
Yes, and there's Lord Fitch, and he was supposed to meet then that dude in that hotel.
Yeah, he was supposed to meet the dude who was going to give him the details on who exactly owns the diamond. But a short man who needed to take the chair to reach the sword.
I will have at you. Let me get this sword first. Oh, sorry, so do you need a chair with that? Yes, thank you.
Exactly. And also because, obviously, if they might have known each other, so he was like, I'll fucking show you, I'll show you. And they probably didn't believe he was going to do anything, maybe like shake a sword around, then they actually ended up sword fighting. And he got an old letter addressed to him with his military rank, and which he probably then wouldn't, he had a military rank like 40 years ago. So it's an old letter. So it's an old army friend, maybe, who came.
Okay, he was supposed to meet
an old enemy.
An old enemy,
because it's French, and it was from the Battle of Waterloo, and he was offended by all his Waterloo stuff, and he had to turn around that one miniature like no.
Well, see, there was the next to the manuscript is a letter from Pierre Mateen. It simply states that he is prepared to divulge the name of the present owner of the gem. For the agreed-upon fee, information and money are to be traded at the Bridge House Hotel at 10 a.m. on the 12th.
Yeah, that would be tomorrow then.
Yeah.
It's the 11th.
So, Bridge House Hotel. That'll probably be worth maybe checking out if Pierre Mateen is there. He was supposed to meet our old friend Jean-Paul Girard. Monsieur Girard was an instructor at the École Militaire where the general was sent in France 48. Maybe that's the guy, because he sounds French.
The teacher from the École Militaire?
Yeah. Jean-Paul Girard.
And he was the one who was going to divulge the information.
No, that's Pierre Mateen.
Pierre Mateen. So who was this Paul Mr. Girard?
In the French embassy, he was supposed to meet this dude.
I think that guy's someone we should check, because it sounds like someone would be old enough, French enough, and military.
So the French embassy.
Yes.
So I just want to see what these questions... What do we have to answer? So we know what we're doing.
See, yes. Knowing that would help us a lot.
Oh, so we didn't need to find out about this. Ah, right. Okay, so questions, part 1. Who killed the General Armstead? Why was he murdered? Why was the Duke of Wellington's figurine turned backwards? With what kind of weapon was the General assassinated? Who killed Pierre and Andre Oh.
I see.
I guess you're not allowed to look at the questions. We just have to figure shit out first and be like, we figured it out.
That's.
I guess you're not allowed to read that part.
Well, they could have put a warning in.
I guess somewhere in the instruction manual I didn't read. Well, okay. I guess if we go...
Let's go find Pierre's body.
I think we have to go to the Bridge House Hotel. I have a feeling that something has gone down.
I gotta say, I agree with this vibe.
All right. So I will look, and then I'll read the newspaper while you do the fucking
I'm
reading.
trying to understand. I'm just reading.
I wouldn't read the newspaper.
About tea, and Harold wants to do something same time next week. And there's a telegram from Paris that was not understood. And a gentleman wants lessons in French about 4 times a week.
Yes, but are they important?
No, none of this is important. Entertainment, a village priest, tonight at 8:15, matinee, and Saturday next at 2:15, Haymarket Theatre.
Well, that seems important. We should go see that.
Or the princess, yes. There's advertisements.
Once we figured out who murdered this guy, let's go watch this show.
No, this could be interesting. Okay, here's
You found actually something.
I actually found something that even has something about it has to do with the Duke of Wellington.
Oh?
Okay. The Duke of Wellington's birthplace. To the editor of the Times, sir, I have today deposited at the military exhibition at Chelsea a most valuable piece of evidence as to the birthplace of the great Duke of Wellington, his census papers of 1851. The first line written by his own hand. In it, he states he was born in Ireland. He believes at Athy. This document was given to me and my sister as a great treasure by our friend Major G. Graham, the late Registrar General. I trust that it will end all controversy on this matter. Faithfully yours, C.T. Palmer, 33 Portman Square, Northwest. So maybe that's why he was turned. It was something about Duke Wellington's birthplace. Like, oh, how could you, Duke Wellington, be actually Irish? That's what must turn you. You bring shame upon our Britishness.
That's why this guy was killed?
Maybe, who knows? That's what the French came like, fuck you. Because that's what the French do. No, that's why the miniature was turned.
You're inferring quite a bit.
It's the only thing so far that has anything to do with people in Waterloo and stuff. Hey, the old letter that the guy got, was it actually addressed to him?
It had the military rank on it.
Yeah, but was it actually to him or to some other general?
It was to him, yeah.
All right.
I think we have to go speak with Sir Jasper Meeks because, he's the coroner, so we get to know what type of weapon killed him.
What exactly killed him, yeah.
All right, 38 EC. Do you want to go to 38 EC with this while I read the newspaper? What's the good news I can find here that will solve the case? Disaster at sea. A router's telegram from Dunkirk says that the British steamer Talisman bound for Leith took the ground on Saturday night in the outer harbor after the colliding with a jetty. Jetty? She has a breach in her bows, but was being lightened. Fine, that's not important.
All right, so 38C.
Yes.
Sir Meeks is in the middle of an autopsy when you arrive in the room. I'm sorry, Wiggins. I'll only have a bit of time for you. Sir Jasper informs us that the general was killed with a sword thrust through the heart. It was an upward thrust.
Aha.
So he was killed by a short person with a sword.
And the sword from the
wall.
Yeah, so sword wall killed him.
Sword wall. That sounds like a D&D trap, that one. So he was killed by a short person.
So Shorty killed him. So we have to find out who Shorty is. Who is the short man?
The short Frenchman. The Shorty.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's go to Bridge House Hotel, 3SE.
All right, so you want to...
Well, I was reading...
All right, you read the newspapers. 30... What?
I'm doing... 3SE.
3SE. So we have now reached the Bridge House Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a hubbub in progress as we enter the Bridge House Hotel. From the murmurings of the crowd in the lobby, we quickly gather that a murder has been committed.
My God!
I would never have expected that.
I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm. We recognize Constable Shook at the foot of the main staircase and advance towards him. How in the world did you hear about it? The boy was found only 10 minutes ago. We explained...
Oh, gee, governor!
No, it's actually written in like out in the world.
Oh, shit, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And we explained that we just happened to be at the hotel on another errand to see a Pierre Mateen. Why, that's the very fellow what was done in. As we ask him to let us pass, he does so, albeit reluctantly. Second floor, he calls after us. Hey, you. Who said anything about you? Back you and none of your lip. We make our way through another crowd gathered at the second floor to talk to the policeman at the doorway of room 226. Our luck holds, for Wiggins is acquainted with the officer and he lets us enter. We arrive in time to overhear a third officer interrogating the desk clerk. He checked into the hotel on the 8th. He was French. This morning he brought down 2 letters to be posted. The proximity of the body is clearly making him nervous. Letters. To who? Yes. Who is written as double O. Letters to who? I don't know, but he pointed to them and asked where Brick Street and Pont Street were in relation to the hotel. So that'd be the late General's house then?
Exactly. This is why we need the map.
Okay. Who found the body? I did. I came to deliver a wire. The constable picks up a telegram lying on the desk. Is it this wire? At the clerk's nod in the affirmative, the constable scowls at the message. It says here, information still valuable. See me, Clive Dornan, Northgate and Kerr Publishers. What information would that be? I have no idea. Did you see anyone suspicious hanging about? Yes, sir. Well, no. I mean, a very large man with a foreign accent. Russian, I think. Asked for Mr. Mateen several hours ago. I told him he was in and to go right up. Oh, did you now? Well, yes, sir. He was very well dressed and well-mannered, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. It wasn't long before the man came down. He was almost running. I saw him go out the front door and hail a cab. A large man, eh? From the looks of it, this one was strangled with bare hands. The constable dismisses the clerk and takes a long look at the body of Pierre Mateen. Too bad the murderer didn't get more of his foot in it, he says, pointing to the overturned inkwell on the floor. The culprit had evidently stepped in the ink, but only with the toe of 1 foot. The tracks, such as they are, grow fainter as the murderer neared the door and disappear altogether at the threshold. Here, what's this? Says the constable, rummaging through the dead man's belongings. He shows a passport in the name of André Mateen.
So
Pierre Mateen was André Mateen.
Okay.
Or there is Pierre and André. Are they brothers?
I guess so. Maybe one killed the other.
No, I think the large Russian man strangled him with bare hands.
With his bare hands.
Hands, it's just, there's no H in this.
Oh, okay. I guess it's like serious then. Hey, I found something in the newspaper. There was a carriage accident in Curzon Street. Sir Sidney Sloane desires to tender his warmest thanks to the gentleman who so courageously stopped Lady Sloane's horses in Curzon Street on Saturday afternoon, and would be greatly obliged if they would let him know their names.
Yeah.
Sounds suspicious. Find Sidney Sloane for me.
Why is that suspicious? Like, ooh, what? People helping each other? This is nonsense.
Find this man. Where is Curzon Street?
Curzon Street is close to Brick Street.
There you go. I'm telling you.
So where's Brick Street in relation to?
Yeah, but this is the guy who's saying, but like the event happened over there, so he might have been just walking there for a bit.
Yeah. So event was on Curzon Street.
Yeah.
Next, which is close to where the crime happened. But
maybe the
where
guy
is
was running
Pont
away and
Street?
spooked the horses.
Yes, Oracle. Yeah, could be. And especially because it seems like there's 2 people involved. There's the Russian man and the short Frenchman.
Yeah.
The large Russian man strangled Pierre. Mm-hmm. And the short French man stabbed the general.
This is not about the money. This is about the diamond.
I'm pretty sure it's about the diamond.
Yeah.
And it has to do with his research into the past about the
Napoleon's brother.
Yeah, Napoleon's brother and the diamond.
Curzon Street.
No, Pont Street. Because Pierre sent 2 letters.
Yeah.
When the police officer asked him, letters to who?
Yeah.
He answered, I don't know, but he pointed to them and asked where at where Brick Street and Pond Street were in relation to the hotel. Brick Street is where the general lived, and who lives on Pond Street? Why is Pond Street important to it?
Well, what's 56 Southwest? Check that.
Belgrave Street.
Upper Belgrave Street.
Yeah. Also goes there.
What about the French Embassy, 59 Southwest?
It is between South Carriage Drive and Knightsbridge.
That's not Pond Street.
No.
I'll see if there's anything on Pond Street in the newspaper. The excitement of reading a newspaper. Read the beginning introduction. There was a company name, I think.
You read it.
Okay, I go 41 WC.
It is between Torrington Place and Gower Street. Between the London University College and the British Museum.
That's the company he was writing the book for.
Oh, okay.
Lord Malcolm Fitch. That's the brother. He lives 39 SW.
Between Lower Belgrave Street and Eckerston Street.
Thinking about the ink. Maybe we can go speak with like someone who's like an ink maker. Would they be like chemists? Printers? No. Tailors, stationers. Was there anything about the ink? Was it from somewhere?
Oh, let's see. It was just that his toes were dipped in the ink. I'm trying to look at an actual map and see if I can find Pond Street on this thing. Found Pond Street. It's next to the Russian embassy.
So they sent to the Russian embassy a letter.
Yeah, why the Russians?
Russians?
The Russian connection, question mark.
Let's go to the embassy. And then the French embassy.
Yeah, let's go to the French embassy first, because we don't really know who we're looking for in the Russian embassy.
The game is afoot!
It is definitely a foot.
It is a foot, or one toe in this case.
Yes, toes. All right, so he sent a letter to
Wait. Like, we have to find out, like, are you Wiggins or am I Wiggins? I mean, we have to have,
I'm Wiggum.
You're Wiggins. You're nothing to see here. No. One of us has to be Wiggins. I guess the other one has to be like...
Wiggums. I'll be Wiggums, you'll be Wiggins.
You're Wiggums?
Yes. We'll be the Wigs.
Wigs. No. No, I would say Wiggins and Hitchcock. Or Johnson. Wiggins and Johnson.
Wiggins and McQueen.
Wiggins and McQueen. I guess you can be McQueen.
Nah. I think Johnson.
You want to be Johnson?
I might as well be Johnson.
Okay, I'm Wiggins and you're Johnson.
Yes, you're Wiggins and I'm Johnson.
Johnson. Get back here, Johnson.
Hey, kids, don't play with my Johnson.
With a Boston accent or something. Don't play with my Johnson. All right, so...
You're jealous of you, Johnson.
Yes. The French embassy?
I'd vote yes, so that would be 59 Southwest.
Which is in French is oui. I can read this part.
Oh, I'm totally okay with that.
All right, so hold on. That is 5 leads out of our 15 leads. So we have 10 more leads.
All right.
Which I think is a very appropriate way of doing this. So hold on, French embassy. Oh, I see why you wanted me to read it.
Yeah, well, I'm like, hey, you volunteer.
A sprightly silver-haired gentleman meets us in the embassy waiting room and introduces himself as Jean-Paul Gerard. He leads us to the small office where we can have our conversation in privacy. Monsieur, we begin. You knew General Armstead from his tour of duty in the École Militaire, did you not? Yes. The General was but a captain at the time, was one of the group of English officers sent to our war college. We in turn sent a number of French officers to your war college and Sunpost. I was assigned to be the General's guide, as it were, during his stay. We were quartered together, and we constantly in each other's company for the entire year. I can't do it that way. They were lovers. In such a situation, people emerge as either the worst of enemies or the best of friends. Happily, the latter was true in our case. Would you describe the General as he was at that time? The General was quite a dashing fellow. I would say that when on duty, there was no more dedicated officer in the English army. His knowledge of military history was astounding, but off duty, well, that was another matter entirely. He breaks into a broad grin. I'm afraid the general was quite a devotee of wine, women, and song, although not by any means in that order. I was quite amazed at, shall we say, his stamina. I am a Frenchman, could not keep up with him. When I complained that he was putting me and my countrymen to shame in a matter of love, he laughed and said that it was because we did not have a horse face to spur us on. You see, just before the general left England, he had become engaged to a Mary Fitch, later Mrs. Armstead. On her behead? What? How? On her baby. On her, he had conferred the unfortunate sobriquet Horseface. It was a marriage of convenience only. It would provide the general with social position and a significant increase in wealth. He looked on his stay in France as the last thing before his marriage knot was tied. Around his neck was the way he phrased it. So there was no particular woman in the general's life at that time. Curiously, there was someone, although I never learned her name. My little flower, he called her. Actually, it was the middle of the night, near the end of the tour of duty, when the general awakened me. Awanked me. He wanked me awake. It was obvious that he had not been to bed, and he was slightly inebriated. The wanking was furious. He wanted me to rise and sortie with him out of the country. I told him to get some more sleep. Morning call was only an hour or so away. With my rebuff, he settled down on his bed and rambled on somewhat cryptically about promises that must be kept and promises that couldn't be. Finally, he slumped back in the bed and sighed. My little flower, I shall never forget the depth of that sigh. My Florette, he said. Have you seen the general often over the years? No, not at all, in fact. Our friendship has been entirely maintained by correspondence. Last week, when I arrived in London, we had a supper at Rule's, and then we went to see the French actor Philippe Arnaud perform. The general commented that my presence next to him while French was being spoken from the stage reminded him of the old days. It was, in fact, the first time in almost 40 years that we had actually been in each other's presence. Your visit went well? Oh, exceedingly. The general was in excellent spirits. Was there anything in particular in his mind? Did he seem worried? No, not at all. He joked at length about the upcoming Totan celebration at the Langham. Alas, he even predicted that he would certainly outlast the other ticket holders and win. He was also very enthusiastic about the new information concerning the Polar Star. He was to meet someone this week, a countryman of mine. If I am not mistaken, he was to give that information. If anything, he was looking forward to that meeting. What business did his appointment with you this afternoon involve? The business of two old friends simply getting together to dine and chat. It is hard for me to believe that my good friend is gone. And if you excuse me, I must now go and kill myself. We just stand there as he's like hangs himself. I was thinking like he would go and like put a flintlock to his chest or something and like.
No, he stabbed himself with a letter opener.
Ah, yes.
But we can't help him because we were on French soil, the embassy.
Ah, yes, yes.
Brits. Like,
it would be an act of war.
Yes, unfortunately, we cannot help or let anyone else help. He must remain.
No, you cannot help this French man. He does what he wants. He has liberté. Go away. And then we're like, okay, let's get out of here, Johnson.
Sure thing, Wiggums.
All right, that's the French embassy. Now let's go see the Russians.
All right, I'm pretty sure most of that information was completely useless.
Yes, very much so. Except this Le Frolette.
I think that's a red herring too. That's like, I don't think his ex-flings and his wife have anything to do with it. It's all about because he was supposed to meet the guy who was in the hotel, Pierre,
And the Russians.
And he was supposed to meet Pierre. Pierre was supposed to give him information about the whereabouts of the Polar Star, the diamond. And then someone comes into his house, kills him, and someone from and some Russian turns up and kills Pierre to make sure no one finds out about the current whereabouts of the Polar Star. So I'm guessing it might be a Russian person who owns the Polar Star currently and doesn't want people to know, because then the French might be demanding it back.
But what about the letter? The letter, there was something about the letter that made him turn white. Now, what could make him turn white if not like
something from the old fling?
Some old fling, exactly.
Could be.
That someone knows about his thing when he was still with his wife. That would legitimize the whole marriage.
I don't think in these days no one really cared that much. Plus, he had his whole fucking in France
That
before
is true.
his marriage. He was the key point.
Unless it was an illegitimate child.
Now that could be maybe Pierre is his child.
Some bastard child. The bastard child came and killed him.
No, I doubt that. No, because he was still killed by an old, short Frenchman, but for some reason now I'm imagining he's hunchback too. Like, I get you. The stab.
I almost killed you in Waterloo, and I will kill you now in your own room. Please help me while I grab this sword from your wall.
Could you give me a boost?
Give me... Oh, yes, sir. Here you go. Here, you can use this chair.
Yeah, you fucking break zero like this.
Hey, you're so polite. You even help me when I kill you. Ha!
Like, yes. You give me pointers of where to stab. Oh, yeah. You're useless.
Okay. So let's go to the Russian embassy.
Yes.
So
that would be 54 SW.
Hoping that someone at the Russian embassy can help us, we ask any Russian national has come to London in the past few days. We are told that Count Rostov arrived on the 8th and that he is staying at the Kaiser Royal Hotel. I guess we have to go to see Count Rostov at the De Kaiser. Let's go to the De Kaiser. 31 EC. At the De Kaiser Royal Hotel, we learn that a Russian gentleman, Count Rostov, and his man are staying in Suite 408. A quick trip to the lift sets us down on the 4th floor. On a short walk puts us at the Count's door. Our knocks is answered by a tall, powerfully built man who shows us into the sitting room. That's the guy!
Found a killer.
There the Count sits sipping his tea. He is a frail old man who seems even more so as the giant takes his place by his side. I'm telling you, these two did it. Are you from police? Why you laugh at me? Are you from police? Asked the Count in a surprisingly hearty voice. Were you expecting the police? Yes, we were. Vladimir reported to me that his interview with Andrei Mateen, who is traveling under the name of dead brother Pierre, was singularly unproductive as he was dead when Vladimir arrived. And Vladimir had nothing to do with his death? He assures me that he did not. Why did he go see Andrei Mateen? It was in reference to certain valuable possession of mine that was stolen from years ago by the Pierre's brother. I was in Paris when I heard that General Armstead was to revise his very interesting book to include chapter concerning that possession. I came to London to see him. In the course of events, I became aware that Andrei Mateen was also in London and realized that he was the general's source of knowledge. When General was reported dead, I had no alternative but to see Mateen. I sent Vladimir to speak with him. Thank you, Count. You have been most kind. That was a dead end.
That was it. We know so he owns the diamond.
He owns the diamond. He wants his diamond back, so he sent the Russian to go find it. The diamond is still missing. Mm-hmm. Someone took the diamond.
Let's go check out 33 Portman Square Northwest.
33 Northwest?
It's about the Duke of Wellington's birthplace.
Okay, Duke Wellington's birthplace.
We might figure out why he was turned.
Chester Palmer is a thin man of roughly 60-odd years, but whose eyes gleam with an unbridled energy. When we let him know that we were visiting him regarding his article in today's Times, a hint of wariness clouds his face. You're not from the...
You're not from around here, are you, boys?
No, sir.
Shut up, Johnson.
Okay, sir.
You're not from the Armstead Foundation, I hope. Because if it were the case, you can go out of here this instant. The paper I've submitted is authentic. My sister Laura and myself have kept it careful until today. The Armstead Foundation? No, we're investigating the murder of General Armstead himself. Did you know him? I've never met the General himself, but I've recently had the deal with the so-called historians who led his foundation. During a conference last month, they claimed that the Duke of Wellington was born in Dublin and mocked me when I dared claim otherwise. They're in a tight spot now. Please, good day, sir. I said good day. And he slams the door.
Oh, geez, boss.
Well, Johnson, that didn't go well either.
Oh, no. That didn't go too well, boss.
God damn it, sometimes I think we should go back to New York and start our own investigation company.
Aye.
Sometimes I think
boss.
sometimes I think you should pick your accent.
Yar.
Yar. I be pirates now. Har, 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 har. We're running out of
Right, boss. Well, I think one of those clues doesn't count because he wasn't there.
No, that counts. We
Oh,
okay,
right.
we can go to the company Norgate and Co. who is
Okay,
writing.
yeah. So, because it seems like there's the diamond, which is related to the murder.
Yes.
But then there's the question of why was.
Well, I
the
guess we're not
Statue of
supposed to.
Wellington
I guess we're not supposed to
spawned?
read the questions. We're just supposed to figure it out. So we do know that the diamond is owned by the dude, and the dude sent his older friend or the bigger guy to kill the other dude.
The bigger guy sent to kill the small guy.
Yeah, but who is the smaller guy?
Yeah, and also because he might be telling the truth. Maybe he just ran away because he was scared. But-
Oh, yeah, and there's Lord Fitch. There's the brother still.
Yeah, who might or might not be Lord.
Oh, he's an obvious choice. We have to speak with him, but let's go to the company first.
Yeah, I think maybe we could go at some point speak at least to one of the, which were the allies.
See, suddenly, all of a sudden, in the beginning, it was getting boring, but now it's actually getting pretty interesting. Now
It's true, yeah, it's true. Yeah, but it's a very slow beginning, and then you have to read the goddamn newspaper and stuff.
Yeah, but once you get into it, then you actually start going interesting.
That's true. It's true. Actually, yeah, we should probably visit Scotland Yard and see what the police have discovered.
Actually, let's not go to Norgate. I have a feeling that there's nothing there.
Yeah, because I was somehow I'm not that surprised.
Let's not go there.
Let's go to.
Wait. No, sorry. No. I was looking at the wrong part. There is something there. Haha.
Oh, damn it.
Clive Dorning at Norgate & Co. tells us that the General Armstead revision of treasure... tells us about the revision. In March, we received a letter from Pierre Mateen from Paris addressed to the General. We forwarded it to him. 2 days later, the General came to see us with the news that the author of the letter knew the whereabouts of the fabulous diamond called the Polar Star. That once belonged to Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's brother. He believed that the information was genuine because the letter contained dead... Why is he all of a sudden from the south?
I don't know, man.
A detailed description of how the gem was stolen from its last owner, Count Rostov, a Russian. It has also contained details of the lime, a place of the sale to its present owner, who actually commissioned the theft, an Englishman. The general was very anxious to include the chapter of the diamond in the revision edition of his book. La Frolette is the diamond. Armstead stole the diamond.
Well, yeah, didn't he want to wake up his friend quick, let's leave the country?
Yes. The only reason that such a chapter had been omitted from the first edition was that he wants that final bit of the information. For our part, we were very anxious to publish such a revised edition. The original publication caused quite a stir among the public. You see, many of the treasures were in effect reconquered by their present owners, by whatever means available, fair and foul. Many of them had secrets to hide. The revelation of those secrets created quite a sensation. The more libel suits that were presented against us, the more the book sold. Envisioning another such scandals with regards to the Polar Star, we immediately made the announcement in the Times. As soon as letters began pouring in, some seemingly rejoicing in the news, some revising copies, and some anonymous, of course, forecasting doom for the general should the book be re-released. Was there any pattern to these letters? Did they appear to have come from any one person. No, although we never saved any to compare them, we simply burned them all. Have you had any contact with Pierre Mateen? I knew he was in town to meet with the general. I have a draft for £5,000 ready. When I learned of the general's death, I wired Monsieur Mateen that his information is still valuable to us. I think
we could probably go and check out the Scotland Yard, see what the police have found.
Okay.
That is
And
13
then-
Southwest.
And then Lord Fitch. Actually, you can read for now.
All right.
I'm getting parched. Actually, it's pretty good timing. We're about to get close to the end. And regardless of how much information we could still go and find, now I'm starting to let's find all the plots.
Exactly. Now we're hitting side quests house.
Now we're hitting side quests.
We're like, oh damn it! There's a limit to how many clues we can check out. I want to see all of that.
No, not in the game. There is no limit, but we have a limit to our barbecue.
Yes. So Scotland Yard, 13 Southwest. Inspector Lestrade gives us a cold stare.
Do you people have nothing better to do with your time than to interfere in police matters? Well, don't waste your time with this one, because we have the matter under control. We have compiled a list of suspects. We will ask them one by one for alibis, and the one unable to supply one is our killer. Quite scientific, if you ask me.
There's an uncomfortable pause. Lestrade answers our questions before we can embarrass ourselves by asking it.
And no, you can't see the list of suspects. Now off with you.
After we have left, Wiggins asks us, why is he so uncooperative after he has asked Holmes for help? Lestrade is a very moody man, and besides, we are not Holmes. To Lestrade, we are still street urchins.
Okay. Lord Fitchborough, 39 Southwest.
I admit to having a strong dislike for Armstead, says Lord Fitch. He was a cad and a bounder who made my sister's life miserable. I argued at length with my father against the marriage, but to no avail. Unfortunately, Mary was not the attractive sort who had to suit us by the score. Far from it. She was in real danger, as my father put it, of advancing rapidly into spinsterhood, unless he did something about it. And so their engagement was arranged just before Armstead was sent on a military mission to France. During that year, I continued to argue against the marriage. I had met several friends on my tour in the continent, and asked them to forward any information they might have on Armstead's unsavoury activities. They regularly sent back word of his riotous living, his drinking and womanizing and such. Finally, there was some scandal or mile involving a young French girl of good family. But even with this documentation, my father would not dissolve the betrothal. I even went too far as to give the story to the newspapers, hoping to create an untenable situation for everyone involved. But my father got wind of it and used his influence to stop the publication. You must understand, I considered that whatever hurt I was doing my sister in the publishing of such a scandal was the lesser of evils in the long run. At the time, I was sure the marriage was a mistake, and so it proved to be. May we ask why you did not keep your appointment with the general this morning? My wife took suddenly ill. I summoned Dr. Aintree, waited until his arrival at around 10 o'clock. Thank you, Lord Fitch, for your time.
Okay.
So if we want to check his alibi,
Yeah.
we gotta check with the doctor.
We have a new lead. That's good. So what was the doctor's name?
Dr. Aintree.
There we go. Dr. A. Ainstree, 24 Northwest.
At Dr. Ainstree's residence, we find the door closed. A plaque indicates Dr. Ainstree, consultations from Tuesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 32 Great Wildroot Street, WC. So now we go to 32 WC. Dr. Ainstree tells us that he was indeed summoned to Lord Fitch's residence this morning. I received the message at around 9 o'clock in my office. I arrived at 10 or so, and Lord Fitch met me at the door.
Okay.
His alibi holds.
Then we have one more. One more lead. And then we crack this case.
Well, I mean, oh shit.
I guess I can add two more leads. I mean, it is 5 o'clock now, so
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this last one was just, it was a lead leading to a lead.
that is true. So we have two more. Should we ask Holmes?
Let's ask Holmes,
All right.
because I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think Wellington was turned around because of shame. Oh, how could you be born in Dublin? No, how could you not be in Dublin? How could you be from this other place? Like, are you telling me my historical stuff is wrong? There was the scandal with the French girl, but I'm like, I don't know if that would make sense, because the letter was was for him as a general, whereas his time with the girl, he was a captain. So his letter shouldn't be to a general if it's from her.
Okay, well, let's go speak with Holmes.
Yes.
42 Northwest.
This is a most peculiar case, I tell them as they sit down in the comfortable sofa of the living room. Did the killer come to kill General Armstead, or was the murder caused by an argument gone wrong? In the first case, the murderer would have needed to be armed as he came in. A cane can easily hide a sword, but would an old man choose that weapon against a still vigorous general? There's something to look into, don't you think, Wiggins?
And in the case of an argument,
It would have been a cold-hearted argument, if you could call it that. Senate hadn't heard shouts or screams before the sound of swords.
but what could be the motive? The Tontaine or the book?
If we keep to the visitor's description given by Senate, we could think of a participant at the terrain who would want to speed up its conclusion. But why the devil would he have a French accent? It doesn't fit. There remains the lead of the Polar Star. I don't know what to think about it. A visit to the General's residence would surely reveal information. Don't you think, Wiggins?
Assuredly, Mr. Holmes.
Maybe we should see, about this cane sword.
Yeah, there was a cane, because he was killed by a sword, an upward stroke. I mean, and the sword was taken, with the help of a chair, and there was no argument, they were just sword fighting. Maybe it was an accident.
It could be an accident. But it said an upward thrust.
Maybe he fell.
But then what's about this guy who died in the hotel?
I think that could be unrelated, because maybe they were killed for the Polar Star. He was just because he was going to reveal the information, and so they were killed so that he couldn't get the information to reveal, so that the Polar Star would remain with its current owner. He had a sword fight, which they both obviously agreed upon, but wait, no, he killed himself. He turned around the Wellington because he was in shame. He died from an upward thrust. I'm not sure there was sword fighting. Maybe it was just him taking the sword down from there. There was a letter from the old
Girl.
From the old girl, maybe. And he killed himself in shame.
Maybe.
But yeah, but still, that's still a pretty drastic reaction. But you could imagine that's how you could.
But who was the girl?
Yeah.
La Florette.
La Florette. Well, she was a young girl from a good family. Wait. So where did the dude live? Mr. Armstrong. We could check the criminologist. Analyzes all items and substances discovered at the. This is games. It starts slow, but it ends with just one more clue. Just one more clue.
All right. H.R. Murray, 22 Southwest. As we quietly slip into H.R. Murray's laboratory, we are surprised to see him in imaginary swordplay with a file cabinet. Rapier in hand, he is parrying and thrusting with amazing deftness. The file cabinet seems indifferent. Only after he has managed to knock a small vial to the floor and overturn a chair does he notice us. He blushes. I was quite a swordsman in my day. Once again, a southern guy.
You're pretty into those southern accents.
I am. I was quite a swordsman in my day, he says, trying to regain his air of authority. And you see, being so out of practice, having such a fine rapier in my hand, the old feeling, well, you must understand. Wiggins laughs. I won't report you. Don't worry. I must say, though, you are quite agile for someone your age. Murray sticks out his chin and tries to slick back his uncontrolled white hair. I am not that old, he says offensively. Wiggins again has a hearty laugh. Ha 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 ha. And finally comes to the point. We're here regarding the Armstead case. I take it this is the rapier he had in his hand at the time of death? Yes, indeed it is, Murray says, holding it up for our inspection. A fine French rapier. At least 70 years old, unfortunately. It yielded very little evidence. The top half had traces of dust all along it, indicating that it has been unused for quite some time. The grip was still moist with sweat. I noticed something on the tip here, he says, accidentally pricking his finger on the sharp point, that under closer inspection turned out to be fresh blood. It was only a tiny amount. He must have merely scratched his opponent. And that, Wiggins, is the only information to be garnered from this beautiful piece. He again starts into mock swordplay. of craftsmanship. God. Wiggins dodges the thrust on his way to the door, cries out, "That's Wiggins, sir, Wiggins!" Whatever, fucking pointless sword. All right.
But it scratched his opponent.
So we need to find someone with a scar. Was there someone with a scar? I didn't write down notes.
You keep keeping some notes, but not all.
Okay, we need one more, and then that's it. Are you just reading the other?
Oh, I'm revisiting what actually happened in his
Mind.
at the murder scene.
Okay. Johnson, what are you doing? I'm in my mind palace.
All right, yeah. So I'm thinking, like, so what exactly happened? So the study is a very large room, devoid of furniture, save for a desk at the opposite end of the room. To our right, between two bookcases, is a glass enclosed display, the top of which has been shattered. In the glass case, a diorama of 200 military figurines. Hanging on the wall above are flags, sabers, a bazaar police, and other military equipage.
Wait a minute. Okay, so the guy went and reached for the sword, the rapier. He fell.
He was stabbed from below, so I'm thinking he was up there, but maybe putting the sword back, because I won, because he scratched his opponent, like to first blood,
Yes,
because there was sword fighting.
yes.
Then he went to put the
He
sword
won.
back.
And then he gets stabbed. He falls into the case, and it smashes. And he dies. And then the murderer
Puts the
puts the figure, because that fell back, but he puts it back wrong.
yes. I think that makes more sense.
Did we go to the criminologist? He analyzed his items.
Yeah,
Look at and he didn't look at the miniature? Oh, no, but they didn't figure out fingerprints back then. God damn it. We would have solved this case, Johnson. Why did we use this time machine?
it's a silly time, sir. Okay, then over the wall, explains Senator, our memento of the great battle, and of course the tontine ticket. Blah, 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 blah. This is where I found the general, says the Senate. Leaning over the diorama, he must have smashed the glass with the pommel of his rapier.
No, he fell.
Yeah. What does the diorama represent? It is a depiction of the great British charge, which swept the French from the field at Waterloo. Yeah, so he fell. He scratched his opponent. He got first blood. He wins. He's about to put his sword back on the wall. He gets stabbed. He falls and breaks the diorama.
Okay, I got it.
So, no, wait. On the wall opposite the Waterloo wall are hung two crossed cavalry pennants.
Yeah, but
Above them, some 10 feet up the wall, a single rapier. So this is from the wall opposite. Yeah, but yeah, he got stabbed from below. Then he like stumbles across the room, falls against the
I have it.
diorama.
I have it. This is a lady's squabble. Andre Mateen went to his house. He created this whole ruse that he had information about this diamond. The Russian sent his dude to go kill this guy to get the information, but it was all bullshit because he wanted to go and fight the general for honor because the general slept with his wife, La Florette.
No, because it was also a young lady of a good family.
His coming wife, Florette.
Coming, what?
So he came here and he was like, you slept with my wife back then. I must come for her honor. And he's like, what are you talking about? I have this letter here when you were but a soldier.
Okay, the envelope. No, but the envelope was yellowed with age and it was addressed in a very graceful hand to Captain Armstead, 12 Hussars. It was from the girl. Yes. We still haven't figured out how the suspect got away. So it was an honor duel.
It was either the husband or the father.
Yeah. Family member of Miss of the Florette, who came to get revenge. Maybe she was heartbroken
Yeah.
because he left her pregnant there. But how did they get away? Well, a short Frenchman stabbed him from below,
Yeah.
but the doors were locked.
Yeah.
He only had access to the garden,
And the garden had a how high wall?
8 foot.
So did Batman do it?
I don't think so. He was killed for its own old flame. Mateens were killed for the diamond by Rostov's man, servant, Jaws, whatever it's called. Armstead was killed for the diamond. Yeah, this game starts slow, looks annoying, but then you get into it.
Yeah, then you get into it,
Yeah,
and then
now-
suddenly you're like,
And now I'm all like, God, I don't want to stop. I don't care about a 15 clue limit. There's obviously something's going on.
we must solve it.
I'm gonna solve this.
The burgers don't take long,
That's true.
so
Oh, we could take a break for burgers
we could take a burger
and
break.
burger break. Discuss some of this.
Should we take a burger break now?
Yeah, we might as well.
All right, this has taken an interesting turn,
Yes, and this is how the side quest sauce happens.
and this is how side quest sauce happens. Yes,
Yes.
suddenly side quest sauce.
Suddenly, something small happens, and we're just
We need to discuss this and look through all these notes again.
yes.
while we're having burgers.
Yes, and properly read through the times because it's
Yes.
Yeah, there's too much text to cover, while still trying to like get everything to advance here.
So suddenly it looks like we might be doing more of these cases.
I'm afraid so. I vote for checking out 53 Pond Street.
We are greeted at the door of Mr. Cabot's home by his butler Harrison, a thin wisp of a man with frightened eyes. He holds in his hands a boot and a cleaning rag. Carson Cabot receives us in his study. He is dressed in a well-cut, expensive suit. In fact, everything about him in his home is expensive. A large man, he sits behind his desk, leaning with his elbows upon it, giving us a hard stare over the tops of two meaty hands clasped under his chin. As we approach, he suddenly breaks his pose and takes an envelope from the top of his desk and stuffs it away in a drawer. What can I do for you, gentlemen? We explain the nature of our inquiry and ask where he has been all morning. Harrison, tell these people that I've been home morning. Yes, sir, Mr. Cabot. He's been home all morning. There, you see, Cabot says, rising and starting to come from behind the desk. His eyes suddenly flick towards his feet and he stops his forward motion. He retreats back behind the desk and says, Harrison, show them out. Once outside, Wiggins asks if we noticed Cabot's abrupt turnabout as he started to come from behind the desk. I think I know why he stopped, says Wiggins. The man was fully dressed, and yet he was wearing bedroom slippers.
He killed Mateen.
He killed Mateen.
He's got the ink on his shoes, and that's why he had a.
He got the letter.
He got the letter. He went there to kill Mateen. So Rostov was actually telling the truth.
Yes, which means why did he kill Mateen? Mateen sent him a letter. He was the guy who has the stone.
I'm thinking he is the guy who has the stone. He was asking like, "Will you pay me more not to tell him?"
Yeah.
It's my guess.
Okay. And that was the letter he hid.
He hid the letter. He got the letter from him. He hid it. And he's the murderer because the murderer had ink on his shoes. And yeah, then if we're wondering like why did the no. Who the heck is this guy? Other than the most likely the man who has the diamond.
Carson Cabot. That is the question. Who is Carson Cabot?
Can't find any info on Carson Cabot on the news.
I want to go see this Philip Arnaud. He was the French actor that they went to go visit. Or went to see perform.
I don't think the...
Give me the fucking...
I was thinking of maybe
Just give me
seeing...
the London directory.
Fine. I don't think this will lead anywhere, but I'll let you do it.
He's not even in the fucking... Wait. Where was the play? Was it in the newspaper? Wasn't there something about a play?
Yeah, I think there was somewhere.
Hey, wait a minute. The guy carried a carpet bag. I'm reading the newspaper. A Persian carpet from the 21st Street or Carriage paid to any railway station in England. The quality and appearance of these carpets are excellent. The design and color will harmonize with any style and decorations and any carpet new and old. Sidley and Sons.
To be honest, I'm not fully aware of what exactly a carpet bag is.
I'm assuming it's a bag that holds carpets.
I'm thinking that because we want to know more about the girlfriend that the victim had, we should go see Langdale Pike. Society columnist knows all the gossip currently stirring in the good London society and about how these people have been moving around. We could also want to go check out the central carriage stables, meeting point with London cab drivers, source of information on the movements of suspects.
Here we go. Princess Theatre, French plays, sole manager Eric Idler. Princess Theatre. How about that?
Should we start with Princess Theatre or the cab drivers or the gossip columnist?
I think the gossip columnist would be the best choice.
Okay. The gossip columnist is found at 2SW. We catch Langdale Pike in a quiet moment at the Societies Club. That is to say, there are no hangers-on when we enter. That being the case, Pike is more than happy to expound to us. The good general married into a considerable fortune when he took Lord Fitch's spinster daughter, Mary, off his hands. Mary's brother, the present Lord Fitch, was against the marriage from the beginning, and there is still considerable friction between him and the general. It's amusing to think that they are in business together. You see, Mary possessed many stocks in common with her brother. When she died, they all went to the general. Armstead and Lord Fitch were locked in each other's embrace, in a business sense. The vagaries of life. The general's claims to fame are his own art collection made possible by Mary's money, and his book which exposed to the public eyes various other art collectors, most of whom would rather not have been so exposed. His book caused quite a stir, let me tell you. Not all the collectors mentioned came by their booty by fair means. Carson Cabot, a gem collector of some note... we found Carson Cabot. Carson Cabot, a gem collector of some note, once accosted Armstead because the book called in question the means Cabot used to acquire a ruby that was once owned by Catherine the Great. I wouldn't at all be surprised if Cabot had in his possession the Polar Star, the centerpiece of the General's revised edition.
He does.
He does. Getting back to the General's marriage, do you know why Malcolm Fitch was against it? I believe it has something to do with the General's reputation with the ladies. My understanding is that he was a bit wild in his younger days. Of course, that was many years ago, and I know none of the details. If you're interested, you might check with my illustrious predecessor, Lloyd Shoemaker. We thank Pike and take our leave. Okay.
All right, we got some more leads.
Mm-hmm.
Find Lloyd.
Lloyd. Hey, Lloyd.
Hey, Lloyd. What are you doing?
Hey, Lloyd. You got some news for us.
Come over here for some coffee. Coffee.
Shoemaker Lloyd, 31 SE.
So Carson is a jewel thief.
Mm-hmm. So I think he had his brother killed, and I think he was maybe that's why he wanted to get some bad stuff to happen to Carson. That's why he was willing to. And Pierre was willing to tell Armstead where the Armstrong, whatever his name is, the victim, where who had the gem, so that then the Rostovs would then maybe cause him some trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Lloyd Shoemaker shows us his humble flat. It is evident that it has been a long time since he enjoyed an audience of any sort, and so he's quite pleased with our company. Langdale Pike told us you might be able to help us. At the mention of Pike's name, Shoemaker's thin lips tighten and his eyes take on a hard and hostile look. It is a minute reaction, but it is enough for us to infer that the transition from Shoemaker to Pike as gossipmonger extraordinaire was not a pleasant one, at least so far as Shoemaker was concerned. And how is Langdale these days? He asks. His tone of voice is clearly indicating a hope that our answer will contain some news of a terminal disease. Oh, he's fine, says Wiggins, to Shoemaker's profound disappointment.
He's fine.
It's fine. We wondered if you might search your memory and tell us a little bit about General Farnsworth and the circumstances of his marriage to Mary Fitch. I can do better than that. So saying, he opens a curtain to reveal a small cubicle. In it are stacked wooden boxes which contain papers, memorabilia, letters, and newspaper clippings. He rummages about a moment or two and comes out with a thick file. As he looks through it, scattering dust hither and yon, he speaks. As I remember it, Lord Fitch was in a dither to marry off his daughter. Auction off might be a more appropriate phrasing. I don't really know how Captain Armstead entered the picture. Suffice it to say that despite a reputation as a profligate of profound proportions, Armstead's career prospects were bright, and that seemed to be enough of a recommendation for Lord Fitch. The girl's brother was very much opposed to the match, and did everything he could to break it up. Soon after the engagement was announced, Armstead went on a tour of duty in France. It was then that the brother came to me with some information of an affair with a young French girl, as reported to him by friends on the continent. Here it is. He shows us an old letter addressed to Malcolm Fitch. As you can see, the letter contained nothing beyond the hints and rumours of scandal, no names. I made my own inquiries and found out that the French girl's family name was Arnaud, and further that the girl was pregnant. When I took this information to the papers, they refused to publish it. Evidently, Lord Fitch had been there before me. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker.
I told you. It said Arnaud, right?
Yeah. Who was Arnaud?
Philip Arnaud was the actor they went to go visit at the Princess Theatre.
It's his son. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, goddamn. Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking, like, maybe they were going to see something, because usually in a theater, someone's like, I saw them fighting or something.
Yeah. Okay, so theater. What was the name of it?
I think it was called the Princess Theatre. Oh, we're chasing and we're doing it.
Well, like the back of the tea room theaters. The quickness.
Ah, there we go.
So, the Princess Theatre is 11 NW. I'm gonna let you read that one. That's your.
All right.
Ooh, finally we're onto something.
We're on to the, I think we got this. And then
Yeah.
when we read it, it's like totally different.
Yeah, no. Yes, actually he was murdered because of unpaid parking tickets.
We arrive at the Princess Theatre, where Vive l'Empereur, a biographical play of the life of Napoleon, is being performed by the French company Arnaud. The play has been a great success during its limited engagement in London, and there is a long line of people trying to obtain tickets for the last two performances before the company returns to France. We make our way backstage to meet the company manager, Gervais Arnaud, the uncle and leading actor and founder of the troupe, Philip Arnaud. He is a short, stout man in his mid-50s, given to extravagant gestures to express a passionate personality. Motherfucker!
Oh, I killed him.
Oh, he killed him. He is very proud of his nephew and fairly bubbles over in praise of his ability. Ah, but you must see Philip perform. He is a magician, a wonder. The breadth of his talent is truly magnifique. He manages to portray the Emperor Napoleon from the age of 26 to his last days on the island of St. Helena. You would swear 5 different actors play the part, but no, it is only Philippe aging before your eyes. As he speaks, he leads us down the corridor to Philip's dressing room. Of course, years of training and practice go into making of such an artist, but at age 48, Philip is the toast of the continent. Why, he has to pronounce it that way. Monsieur Arnaud is 48 and you're his uncle? Haha, I am but 8 years older than Philippe, but I assure you that I am his uncle. It seems that the Arnaud family has a history of late arrivals. Philip's father was 23 years older than myself, and Philip's poor sister... He points to the daguerreotype of a young woman. Daguerreotype? Daguerreotype of a young woman. Was 11 years older than he. Next to the portrait of the sister is another of an older woman. Each has a black ribbon draped diagonally across its top right-hand corner. Yeah, they're dead. Mm. Yes, they are both dead. All right. Yes, oui, they are both dead. The sister many, many years ago under very tragic circumstances. Philip's mother had to be put down.
She had to put to sleep. She got the rabies.
She got the rabies. No. Yes, we. They are both dead. The sister many, many years ago under very tragic circumstances. Philip's mother had to be put into asylum. She just couldn't accept her daughter's death. We received word from the asylum only last week that she too had passed away. It upsets Philip very much. Resurrected old ghosts, you might say, and his performance suffered, but he has recovered completely. I have never seen him more brilliant than he was last night. You must see him perform. You must. In fact, if you will wait here, I will arrange for tickets. Can you tell us where Philip Arnaud was this morning? Monsieur Arnaud gives us a puzzled look, but answers, he was at the National Gallery. But why do you ask? Just then, 2 workmen carry a trunk into the dress room. Monsieur Arnaud throws his hand in the air and exclaims, No, mes amis, that trunk should go to the company lodgings at the Grand Hotel. He turns back to us and shrugs as if to say, What is one to do? Then he says, Wait, and I will get the tickets. During the entire interview, we have never stated our purpose. Feeling somewhat guilty that we have obtained information under false pretenses, we decide that the better part of valor would be to leave before Monsieur Arnaud returns.
It's the actor.
The actor.
The actor who, because he had his makeup bag with him, so he faked it. He made himself look hunchback, shorter and older.
Yes.
Because he can make an age in front of your eyes, and he's really good at it, as is being said.
That is true.
Yeah.
So he's at the Grand Hotel then.
Yes, he went to kill his own father with a letter of his mother, who was sent to the asylum because now she died. So, like as he said,
Yeah.
old ghosts are haunting him.
He went to fight for her honor.
Yeah,
Oh,
but he lost because he was a military. He's actual military man. This is only and he's only an actor.
yeah,
So he lost, and then got stabbed in the chest.
yeah. Maybe you're like fucked over with the whole thing. Like, yeah, fuck you with the toy.
Yeah. Or then, yeah, he tried to hide the fact that he struck at him from below.
Yeah,
He's still trying to like hide his height and all that to make sure that because he wants to stay in character. So he
Yeah.
was stabbed from below. He was a short guy who came in, but he's actually not that short, and that's why he could get like
so he faked it. Yeah,
He faked everything, and probably had because he had his bag with him, so there might be something else there that helped him.
unless it was this guy who killed him.
I don't think that was this guy. I think this guy, because it's his uncle, and
Or maybe he's saying he's his uncle, but he's actually the father.
no, I think the father is the victim
Oh, okay.
because it happened 40 plus years ago.
That is true. That he a bastard son. What
Yeah.
we were saying.
Yeah. He's the bastard's son, and so we should go to the Grand Hotel.
We have to go to the Grand Hotel. Call a taxi. Taxi.
Then a yellow cab turns up, and everyone's confused. And we're like, "Yay!"
Hey, Mac, where you want to go? Like, no, wrong taxi. It has to be like a horse and carriage.
All right, so the Grand Hotel, 22 toilet.
22 toilet.
Vad säger?
You win the game. Only after a phone call to Inspector Lestrade does the manager at the Grand Hotel allow us to search Philip Arnaud's room. So he's not there. Once there, we readily find the cane. Cunningly wrought into the handle is a button, which, when released, separates the handle from the cane. A sword attached to the handle slips neatly into the cane sheath. After a few moments more, we discover a yellowed envelope addressed to Captain Armstead, 12th Hussar. The letter inside reads, and here's the letter.
Oh no!
We found the letter. Mon bien-ami, je ne puis supporter les souffrances. Okay, it's all in French. Wiggins translates.
Oh, well done, Wiggins.
All right. Of course I know French.
Yeah, of course you do, boss. Well done, boss.
Dearest, I cannot bear the pain any longer. I hated you when you left me, but the child, our child, eased the hurt and softened the heart. Now my baby is dead, the innocent sufferer for our sins. I have nothing. I am nothing. I cannot bear the pain. I love you. I love you still, Florette.
The daughter, the girl was his.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, fuck nuggets.
Still, like it makes sense, yeah. From his point of view, this guy killed his mom and sister
Yeah.
by
Half-sister.
half sister. All right.
I think we got this.
And we got this, and I think and that's why the Napoleon, the Wellington was turned because
Yeah.
he fell on the thing.
Not Wellington, Armstead.
No. Yeah, Armstead fell on the case, and that's
Yeah.
why the miniature of Wellington was facing the wrong way around.
Yes.
because he just quickly placed him there as he then made his way out. With
Shall
his
we
theatric
go?
skills?
Shall we go to Scotland Yard? And it's like, we have it, Lestrade. We have solved the case. Fuck you, Sherlock Holmes. To hell
Alright.
with you.
Although we have no evidence on.
Fuck the evidence.
No, but okay, so we know now why the dude is dead.
We know why the dude is dead. We know how the dude is dead.
We know who made him dead.
We know who made him dead. And
Now we had to, and then I'm pretty sure that it was Karsten who
stole the rock.
stole the rock. But to prove it,
But that doesn't matter. We were here to solve a murder, and we have solved it.
then we found another murder on the way, man.
Yeah, but fucking let Lestrade do that, man. We're just like,
Can't do his job. Why do you think he always comes to Sherlock Holmes?
yeah, and what does Sherlock Holmes just do? He comes to us and he follows us somehow. And then he heads there in the end, figuring out, saying, like, oh, I figured it out before these fuckers did. What use are we? We're nothing.
We're wingmen. We make him look better.
Yeah, we make him
know?
look better.
Yeah,
This time it's going to be us. This time we're going to be looking better. And Sherlock Holmes is going to look
You're
like
right.
shit.
You're right. We can do this.
We can do
We
this.
can do this, pals. We can do this.
Let's go. Taxi!
Ah, Watson, look over there, see? My Baker Street Irregulars are turning up at last. As I predicted it would be after supper. You owe me at least one sticky bun for that. We've been waiting all afternoon for them. Anyway, they're here now. Let's see what they have to say for themselves.
All right. Yeah, let's see if we can figure this one out. So, questions.
What is your favorite color?
Okay.
What? It's like, that's not the right one. There's so much text here. I mean, we're missing all these clues, but I guess it's not just meant to like go through it all.
Well, I mean, we found a lot of stuff that's unimportant, and I'm pretty sure that there will be a lot of clues that has to do with the whole Tontine thing.
Yeah.
That just isn't important.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone obviously thinks like, oh, this is about that.
Yeah.
But because we're side quest experts, we know that no.
we recognize, no, that's a side quest that goes nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too obvious. It's too obvious. It can't be that.
All right. Who killed General Armstead?
His
Philip Arno.
Philip Arno,
Yeah. Why was he murdered? Because the guy
because his mother his mother has now died, and
and
most likely has
half-sister.
suicided.
Yeah.
And his half sister died, and he's the reason for all of that because he
Yeah, exactly.
fornicating.
Why was the Duke of Wellington's figure? Oh, it was the Duke of Wellington. I'm sorry. Why was the Duke of Wellington's figurine turned backwards?
Yes, and most likely because he fell on
Yeah.
the case,
Yeah.
and then this guy put it back just in haste.
Yeah. It didn't mean anything. It was just he turned it.
Yeah,
With what kind of weapon was the general assassinated? The sword cane.
sword cane.
Part 2. Who killed Pierre and Andre Mateen? Well, I didn't know that they both were killed, but
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Rostov spoke of, he's here faking as his dead brother. So I'm thinking, yes, he's his dead brother, so he died a long while ago. And that's what I'm thinking.
Cabot.
So yeah, Cabot killed them both. Cabot killed Andre to hide the fact that Andre stole the...
Cabot killed Andre thinking that it was
No.
Pierre, and then he went and killed Pierre.
No, Andre was the one who stole the diamond in the first place.
Yes, that's right. For
Cabot.
Yes.
And I think Cabot killed him to silence him. Pierre found out, oh no, Pierre stole it. And Andre is the one who's living. Andre is the one who just got killed. So Pierre stole it in the first place from Rostov.
Yeah.
And Cabot killed him to silence him.
Yeah.
And now Pierre is in town and ready to sell the information to
The highest bidder.
Armstead.
Yeah.
To the book to expose him, get him into trouble. And maybe he was... Because obviously had also sent him a letter. And so I think he was maybe trying to blackmail him or just trying to gloat.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
No.
But yeah.
We don't need to know.
Yeah, who cares why? And that's why Cabot killed him too. To silence him, to make sure that the information who exactly has the Polar Star does not go
Yeah.
public.
Well, the second question. Why was Marshal Guilfoyle late to work? Like...
Late to work? What?
Why is that important in this murder investigation? What has that got to do with anything? But it is very, very important.
I think Sherlock Holmes will soon explain to us why we're wrong.
Yes, of
Our
course.
facts are correct, but we are still wrong in our deduction of how we came to the right answer.
Yes, that is accurate.
Who has the Polar Star?
Cabot.
To whom are the letters sent by Andre Mateen destined? One was to Cabot.
Cabot and the victim.
And the victim, yes.
Farnstead.
Yes. Now for the solution.
Or maybe it was meant to go to the Russians. But Cabot intercepted it somehow.
Well, he's so close to it, so.
Yeah.
Well, we're all here and waiting. For the life of me, I cannot imagine how you cut to the truth in this case. I put aside my paper and begin. In this particular case, which might be titled The Case of the Tin Soldier. If you'll forgive my intrusion into your literary bailiwick, Watson, the most intriguing fact was the method of murder. The distinct sound of swordplay reported by Mr. Sennett. Most odd. It suggested to me an affair of honour. At General Armstead's home, my suspicions were confirmed. First, the letter. It was yellowed with age and addressed to the General by a rank he held some 40 years ago. It upset the General, indicating it concerned some long-past indiscretion. It was the reason for the duel.
"How can you be so sure it was a duel?" asked Watson.
The General had time to place a chair against the wall, climb upon it, and retrieve a rapier hanging 10 feet above. The murderer allowed him to arm himself. A duel is the only event that fits with the facts. It is also interesting to note that the second rapier remained in its place. The intruder came prepared, a sword cane.
We called it.
As to the intruder himself, Sennett described him as an old man, yet he left the premise over an 8-foot garden wall.
He jumped because he was acting.
Yeah.
A disguise carried off with enough expertise to completely fool Sennett. The carpet bag was used as a receptacle of the disguise when it was no longer needed.
You called it a makeup bag.
Then there was the clue left by the General himself. Mortally wounded, incapable of speech, at least incapable of producing a sound that would carry through the study door to Sennett, the General wanted to leave some clue. With his last ounce of strength, he smashed the diorama glass and turned the figure of Wellington in the opposite direction.
"The diorama depicted the Battle of Waterloo,"
said Watson. I would have thought the Torrentine was involved. If that was so, Watson, the General need not have been so indirect. The Torrentine ticket was hanging in front of him. All he had to do was reach for it, and the message would have been clear. Based upon an indiscretion out of the past, a letter addressed to Captain Armstead, the rank of the General held at the time of his service in France, and the intruder's French accent, as detected by Sennett, I concluded that an interview with Jean-Paul Gerard at the French embassy might prove profitable. The picture painted by Mr. Gerard fit directly into the pattern. Having agreed to a marriage of convenience as a sacrifice to his career, the General lived a riotous life in France, a full, carefree life without responsibility for exactly 1 year. A rather romantic notion, and what is more romantic than a desperate and ill-fated love affair? Mr. Gerard's mention of the actor Philippe Arnaud struck a chord. Who better than an actor, a trained master of illusion, to disguise himself and perform in that disguise convincingly? Also, Philippe Arnaud performs the role of Napoleon. According to Mr. Gerard, the General had seen the play and gone backstage to meet Arnaud. When the General turned the figure of Wellington round, he was trying to tell us that his killer was Napoleon, Wellington's opposite at the Battle of Waterloo. Or rather, the actor playing Napoleon, Philippe Arnaud.
Bullshit. Bullshit that you can infer that much from a fucking turned tin soldier.
Yeah, it's stupid. Our explanation is way better.
No, he fucking fell on it because he lost the thing. You shithead.
Pretentious bastard.
None of this makes sense. You listened to us and you came here first.
Why, you fools, would you think that? Get your heads out of your arses. At the Princess Theatre, seeing the two portraits and hearing something of the woman's story suggested a reasonable scenario to fit the situation. Arnaud's sister was the Little Flower, a proper name, not a description, by the way, signed over by the General to Gerard. She was an impressionable 17-year-old who fell madly in love with the dashing English captain. When the captain's year came to an end, she despaired and took her own life. Her grief-stricken mother went mad and was sent to an asylum. Thus, in the twinkling of an eye, Philippe Arnaud had lost a beloved sister and a loving mother. He was but 6 or 7 years of age, and while he desperately felt the double wound, he was too young to understand the circumstances that caused it. Some 42 years later, he stumbled upon a letter written by his long-dead sister. It yielded an explanation and a name, Armstead. He came to London, and fate engulfed him. He received word of his mother's death, and at the same time the London papers trumpeted the hated Armstead name. Armed with a swordstick and letter, he went to the General's home to take his revenge. Voila!
Huh. I have beaten you, Wiggins. I am better than you because I have made more of a convincing story than you ever could have constructed with your investigations and more reasonable assumptions. Nah.
Ah, screw you and your evidence.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, but you are ignoring the most important question. Why was Marshal Guilfoyle late for work?
Well, is it then on the next page?
All right. Holmes has solved this case by following 4 leads: General Armstead, Jean-Paul Gard and the French Embassy, Princess Theatre and the Grand Hotel. He also used the following articles from the newspaper: the Princess Theatre. His score is 100 points. We did 17, so 17 times 5 is... 7 times 5 is...
35.
35, so that's...
85?
That's minus 85. But we got Who Killed the Armstead? Philip, 30 points. We got that right. So that's now 55 points. Minus 55. Why was he murdered? Because he disgraced honors. Oh, no. Minus 4. So that's... we're at 35 points. Minus 35. Why was he murdered? Because he disgraced honors. That's 30 points. So that's minus 5 points. Why was the Duke of Wellington's figuring turned backwards? The general was turned like 30 points. Well, we didn't get that right. Ours is more
Ours
accurate.
make more sense.
Yes. What was the kind of weapon with the sword cane? That's 10 points. So we're at plus 5 points now. Yay. Who killed Pierre and Andre Mateen? Curzon Cabot. 10 points. Yay. So that's 15 points. Why was Marshal Guilfoyle late to work? Here we go. The real
big question.
The big question. The real one. The one that eluded even Sherlock Holmes. He stopped off at Rollins and Fraser's to buy his wife an anniversary gift.
Wow. That's the important stuff right there.
I know. That's what this is all about. You know, this is why we do this, Johnson. This is why I became
You're right, sir.
this is why I became a street urchin investigator.
Yeah. So we know that Marshal Guilfoyle buys anniversary gifts, and that's why he's late for work.
I know. This is very important in this investigation. We had to know why he was late for work. And to whom are the letters sent for Andre? One was for the General Armstead, that was right. And the other one was sponsored to Curzon Cabot, which was right.
Yes.
So 10 points. So we were at plus 25 points.
Yay. At least we're on plus points, man. It's already winning.
Okay, well, we were at plus 25 points. Sherlock Holmes was at 100. So go fuck yourself, Sherlock. We're better than you. We had more of a convincing reason for all of this stuff, and you and your pretentious cocaine addict fucker. We'll get you on the next one.
Yes, then they'll have to solve the murder of Sherlock Holmes.
They'll never know who did it.
Well, Watson, what do you think? Did the Backer Street Irregulars perform to task? I think so. I think the next time a murder most foul is committed, we should recruit their help and give them another chance to show off their skills and talents. I think they've earned their keep today, and perhaps a measure of rum for good spirits too. Well, I can't say I look forward to the next murder, but working with those two has been a pleasure. We've just had some fun playing Sherlock, Consulting Detective, but next week is a big event. By the time this podcast is out, we will be on the way to a gaming weekend in the countryside. We're going to pack up our gear in a couple of cars and head to a small cottage by the sea for a weekend of gaming, companionship, good food, good humour, and maybe a bit of sauna thrown in as well. So we'll be recording ourselves playing quite a few games. We'll tell you what's going on, what we think of them, and general game-related banter as well. We're even going to have a special guest, all things going well. So, see you next week.